All right, guys. So I had a little technical difficulty with the recording that I was doing. I had started already. Let me back it up just a second, and we'll get this done quickly. So, example 3 asks us, what is the sum of 5 plus -5 plus -4 plus 8? And if we were to use a number line to help us count on and find the sum, which means that I'm adding these four numbers, then this is how it would look. So we already know we should start at 0 no matter what. And since 5 is my first number, I went to the right 5 for that positive 5. Okay, and then when I had to add the -5, I went 5 back in the other direction. So what happens between adding 5 and -5? Where do I end up? If I do 5 plus -5, I get a result of 0. And what this means is that 5 and -5 are opposites. And there's some new terminology we're going to have to be familiar with, and that is additive inverse. So 5 and -5 are additive inverses of one another. So that means that when I add them together, I'm going to get 0. Okay, now let's continue. If I want to add a -4, think about what -4 means and which direction I'm going to move on the number line for that -4. And you should have said that I'm going to continue moving to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my -4. And I see that I stop on -4 because I started from 0. Okay. And now I need to add the 8. So let's go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like I end up here on the number +4. Okay, so my final position on the number line after I add all four numbers was 4. And then they ask us a pretty interesting question. What card or combination of cards would I need to get back to 0 from this +4? Sorry. So if I'm here, what cards could I possibly pull, or what numbers could I possibly use to get me back to 0? I want you to pause your video here, and I want you to think about that for a second. Try to answer part B on your own. Okay, now if I have +4, think about the opposite. A card that says -4 on it would get me back to 0 immediately. Okay, but let's say that I didn't take -4 at first, but I took -3. So 1, 2, 3. I would need a -1 to continue moving in this direction and end up at 0. So I could pull -3 and -1, just to name a few. So I want you in the comments, go ahead and add one more possibility, one more set of cards that I could pull that would get me from that +4 back to 0. Okay, now the rest of the lesson is for you to do. So I'm going to want to see your work for exercise 2. And I'm going to want to see every part but D answered. So since we can't physically play the integer game with one another, part D and exercise 3 are going to be a little bit different. I'm going to post a game for you to play in Google Classroom that has you doing the exact same thing that the in-class activity, the integer game, would be. Okay, so play that posted game one time, play one round on there, okay, and then your problem set is going to be posted in Google Classroom.